So I was just thinking about the trade deadline, and I was thinking about, didn't we see, I believe the Herschel Walker deal was done at the trade deadline. And in the late 80s, maybe we saw some trade deadline deals. And then, of course, I think it was 2012 when they moved the trade deadline from, was it week 6? It was fairly early to week 8, which is kind of halfway, even though it will be halftime of this game that is halfway. The point is, we saw a lot of action at the trade deadline, and we saw the Bears involved in a lot of action at the trade deadline. What was your take on seeing a couple of big trades, a couple of big guys leaving, and Chase Claypool coming in?
Well, I was certainly surprised, obviously, when the Roquan deal came across. So, clearly that impasse had a deeper meaning to the whole picture than maybe anyone thought. Sometimes these things just get swept under the carpet, and you go back and you try to get something done. But I think it was an immovable object there. And then getting Claypool, I love the trade. I don't know what his ceiling will be, but I think he comes in as a polished veteran receiver. He's still got things to work on, obviously, but he can come in and play Sunday right away. And he's a smart guy. You love the physicality of that player. You love the emotion of the player, although he has to keep that in check at times. And he's got the speed. He's got the vertical. He can win 50-50 balls. He's 6'4". You put him out there with N'Keal Harry right now against a team like the Dolphins, for example, who play a ton of man coverage. These guys got to win their routes. I'm not saying Claypool's going to get a full complement of the day, but he'll be out there. And Cole Kmet, and a little basketball team going. And again, these are not number one receivers, obviously, but they can do the job. And so I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to see as the weeks go on here how he blends in and how Justin Fields finds him.
Basketball team. You got enough Notre Dame grads to start a law firm.
Yeah, that too. That too.
So Thayer,
don't forget Thayer.
I know. I'm saying when you talk to Tom, Jeff, about Chase Claypool, when you talk to people around Hallis Hall, or have a lot of contacts around the league, how do you, I don't want to say rationalize, but justify the fact that, okay, the Steelers didn't want him. The Steelers developed wide receivers. The Bears obviously have a need. Maybe it's out of desperation. Maybe it's out of just a preemptive strike for free agency. But how will you talk about why the Steelers didn't want a guy that now the Bears will showcase at times?
Well, I think from a financial point of view, you got to start there, because I think he wants a lot of money as well, and that in Pittsburgh was going to be a hard sell because of the other receivers they do have. So that may be something to broach down the road here. He is under contract through 2023. So in my opinion, more than anything, when you're dealing guys at the trade deadline, it's because some of it is a financial consideration moving forward. Not so much that the guy's a problem or whatnot, but he is an emotional guy. We've seen, him in action, and talking to Cole Kmet this week, even at practice, he will be a highly competitive individual, who should raise everybody's competitiveness as well, which I don't mind as long as it's done properly. So I just think I'll start there. I haven't heard anything other than that around the league about this man's performance. He had a terrific rookie year, obviously. Working with Ben Roethlisberger now, which is a whole different situation there. Found him 9 times for touchdowns. Average over 14 yards a catch his second year, and this year working out of the slot a lot. I'd rather work him out, and they're going to work him all over, but I'd rather work him outside the numbers and use that speed and physicality down the sidelines to get those tough postage stamped throws down the field, or muscle out a ball and draw a flag, anything like that, because he's got some real speed and some real leaping ability.
This football report is brought to you by Four Winds Casino, for gaming, for dining, for entertainment. Speaking of explosive ability, boy, this receiving core is scary, Jeff. When you look at these guys, I mean, we were talking about it. Tua doesn't have the strongest arm, but he's accurate. And they run a system that helps him to accurately deliver the ball, and those guys can run forever. So you've got to be careful in terms of tackling these guys.
You got to tackle, but here's the funny thing. I found it odd to understand that most of their yards receiving is the actual length of the pass. It's not yards after the catch. They are the second fewest yards after the catch in the NFL behind the Cleveland Browns. So these guys, that speaks to his accuracy for sure. I mean, that's the only way I could look at it. So they're either getting behind you, at the 5 and rolling into the end zone or whatever. But the other thing is, these two guys get the lion's share of the receiving yards, go on a record pace as a duo. But 12 players have caught the football. 6 different players have touchdowns. 12 different players have run the football, including 3 quarterbacks. So Mike McDaniel, he has a little shell game going with a lot of movement, a lot of motion before the snap. So you're going to have to really trust your eyes in this game. They are very good red zone team. They don't rush the ball a ton, but they're still productive. Raheem Mostert is very fast as well. So they get penalized a lot on offense, but I'm hoping the Bears will get some sort of ball control to score type of offense, steal a possession, hopefully, and keep that offense off the field and not leave it to chance, because you got some new bodies in there, obviously, from what we're hearing, from defensive coordinator Alan Williams. It's Morrow and Jack Sanborn. Not sure which is going to start where, but, Jack Sanborn, I love his mentality towards the game. He's an old school football player, but from an athletic point of view, it's going to be interesting to see how he handles things.
So, Jeff, when the Dolphins play defense, sometimes they don't play it well. They gave up 27 to the Lions. You would think that would present an opportunity for the Bears, the best rushing team in the NFL. And that's still an odd thing to say midway through this season, but they are the best rushing team in the NFL. Are they going to get Cody Whitehair on that offensive line this weekend, do you think? And what should be the Bears' approach if they feel like the Dolphins are vulnerable? Is it just to run the ball, and run the ball some more?
Boy, they've proven they'll do that. And actually, I wouldn't mind in this particular situation. I don't know. Everybody, I haven't checked. Is it supposed to be some badass windy day on Sunday?
Windy would be good
all weekend.
Yeah. So that would be good. That very much would be good. So again, and you've heard me say it 1,000 times, I just don't care. I want to run the ball. I love the fact that they can hang their hat on that. And obviously the quarterback has a big hand in that as well. He's on his way to a 900-yard rushing season if he keeps this up. But yeah, the one thing they do well, though, I have my little statistical rankings here, and if you're in the top 10. If you're in the top 9, I should say, I give you a red, meaning good, and they are the 6th-ranked rushing defense in the NFL. So that's the only stat that they're in that category. So they do get hurt in other areas, which stuns me a little bit, because Xavier Howard, for example, is one of the best man corners in the NFL, but takes some risk. He's given up 5 touchdowns already this year, and they've given up a lot of passing yards. They are 27th in yards per pass attempt. They're 26th in passing yards. They've 29th in quarterback rating. They give up completions, and they play a ton of man. So that tells me that you can get something going in the passing game. So that'll be fun to see how these guys handle Justin Fields. Bringing in Bradley Chubb, he'll play because defensive linemen, outside linebackers will rush the passer. Go get the quarterback.
Yeah.
We don't need you to know what we're going to be doing. Maybe we don't do as many stunts or games or whatever. Just go get the quarterback.
What's worrisome to me is that the Bears ran the ball very well against the Dallas Cowboys, and they, in fact, ran 71 plays, and they held the ball for over 36 minutes. And the Cowboys nearly put a 50-burger on them, right? So
they did, yep.
That and I mean, when you only hold the ball 23-plus minutes and you score that amount of points,
yeah, you can't lose any possession. So they lost a possession in that game, and even if he didn't scoop and score, it was inside the 35. They were likely to do some damage. If you keep that drive and make it a one-score game, who knows? But yeah, I mean, the defense, they just could not stop the quick passing game. And, Tua's probably going to try to do the same thing and avoid getting people in his face, because you don't love that. You want to make it a muddy pocket for Tua and put your hands up in the air because of his height. But, yeah, I mean, the defense, they just were on their heels the entire game. And that one series, which impressed me, because also being an old school football, I love the tight end. And they hit the tight end, all 3 different tight ends just repeatedly. It was like a conveyor belt of boom, 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 boom. So they're going to have to tighten things up with the coverage.
Yeah, they have a good tight end. Gesicki's very good, and I think that's a good offense. And, Jeff, I wonder if you're looking at the Dolphins and the way that they have structured the roster and approach last offseason, they have done their best to surround a third-year quarterback on his rookie deal with an offensive line. They bought the left tackle. They got the receivers. Is this the model that you think the Bears are looking at and say, oh, we can do that? Or do you think that they're two entirely different situations?
I think they're going to be their own situation. And I think Ryan Poles has a plan of what he wants to do, and he's going to do it his way. He's very dialed in to what he wants, and that is a draft-driven football team and spend smartly, not out of control. But, yeah, I mean, there are certain teams, and it's a league that obviously follows the leaders and figures things out that way. But let's have a franchise that has its own mind towards things. Let's build the Bears and not try to follow somebody else. But, of course, you want different types of receivers, and I think he's started hedging that, with the addition of Chase Claypool. No matter what, you've got a very athletic player here that's under contract through 2023 that you hopefully likes playing in this offense with a very dynamic quarterback, certainly with his legs, and still trying to figure out a consistency in that passing game, but getting better. And then, you've got Cole Kmet. You got pieces here already. You just got to figure out. I'd start with the offensive line, obviously, and make that really, really special. And then you got to find a guy who's going to require a lot of eyes on him and double coverage at that receiver position, and so that you can create mismatches.
Jeff, when we talk about the pass rush, the Bears pass rush, I understand that Robert Quinn had 1 sack and 3 pressures, and that's not exemplary. But at the same time, that's a guy that everybody has to be aware of and game plan for. Who will be the leading sacker on this team? Right now, it's a safety, and
Yeah.
I mean that's just scary.
I don't know that answer.
Yeah.
I really don't. I was very high on Travis Gibson before the season. I thought, at the tail end of last year, he really showed so well. And obviously Quinn was on the other side. And, that's part of this too, is that, and don't discount the inside either, because while Akeem Hicks was not available very often and was hurt a lot, when he was in there, he required 2 guys. He did. And when he wanted to rush the quarterback from the interior, he was rushing the quarterback. He was going to steamroll you and get you to flare out of the pocket there and collapse that pocket. So that opened opportunities on the outside as well. Maybe they're going to have to get creative with how they approach the line of scrimmage. Maybe they will have to blitz more. It's not in their DNA to do that, but maybe they'll have to create pressure. Certainly they're doing that with Jaquan Brisker.
Jeff, which number will be higher on Sunday? Justin Fields' passing yards or Tyreek Hill's receiving yards?
It better damn well be Justin Fields' passing yards.
It's not a dumb question.
No, it's not. It's not. But come on, man. Hey, play deepest of the deep and make sure. A lot on the safeties in this game and the creativity of Alan Williams. I mean, that guy 4.29. He wants the football. He's aggressive. He's not just some fly that can, roam the. This guy's a tough dude, and he gets a lot of muscle catches as well. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's don't make me crazy. Don't make me crazy today. And let's not fall asleep on Jalen Waddle either.
Right.
Well, the other guy's special. This
That's
guy
right.
is, just a tick behind him in that regard. And like you said, Gesicki. I mean. Yeah, that's an outstanding player there. So there's so many things to worry about, honestly, for this team. And Gesicki's their best red zone guy. He's got 4 of their touchdowns, but Waddle's got 3. When you're talking about spreading it around, third down is Tyreek, and then Jalen Waddle right behind him. So he gets 17 yards a catch on third down. So if you're third and 11, you're going to Tyreek Hill.
You mentioned Chubb playing and, see ball, get ball for a pass rusher. It was interesting. Tua said that they're going for the Super Bowl, basically, when they made that move. They had that feeling that this was their response to Mahomes, to Allen, whatever. And the Bears are on their, 6th offensive line combination if Whitehair plays?
Well, I mean, he's back. I mean, who else is playing where? Is Larry Borum going to be able to come back yet? It's not looking very promising. I don't think so. Yeah, but it's not what you want, certainly at the offensive line position. So Hey, if Tua thinks they're going for the Super Bowl, good for him. There's still a long way to go, obviously. But Bradley Chubb is an established pass rusher, and he was having a good season for Denver with 5.5 sacks. So, yeah, got to block him. Got to block him and figure out. They blitz a lot, too. They blitz. Their defensive backs are very good at blitzing, including Javon Holland. That's a guy to keep an eye on in this game.
How much of the broadcast will be devoted to, or the pregame maybe, a segment to Tom Thayer's time as a Dolphin in 1993?
It'll come up. It'll come up. Heck, we tried to get Dan Marino to come on our Bears All Access show because he kept saying, yeah, he's my teammate.
Right.
He's my teammate, And I remember going to the Super Bowl in 06, and we went to Joe Stonecrab down there, and Thayer, I think, bought us dinner. He got the whole crew dinner down there at the Super Bowl, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, it was a riotous occasion because Dan Marino walked in, and it was very entertaining. I'll just say that. He and Tom embraced. They had a good conversation, and it was a lot of fun.